Becca C. Smith here, and today I'm doing the author trivia tag. I was tagged by Brooke from By the Brook. Thank you, Brooke. And this tag was originally created by Lenn Woolston, and I will link both Brooke and Lenn's videos below. So this seems kind of fun, getting to know everybody, weird things that we probably don't talk too much about in our writing YouTube, author tube channels. Okay, so I'm going to start with an easy one. Fact number 1. My husband and I were married in Vegas by an Elvis impersonator. Kind of says everything, doesn't it? Fact number 2. When I was in my 20s, my friend and I used to sneak into movie premieres. This is more difficult than it sounds because I'm an introvert, but my friend was like, oh my god, this girl had such guts. Because the only way to get into a premiere, now this is the premiere, like with all the actors and the creators and the writers and the directors, so you have to have an invite or be on a list in order to get into any movie premiere. So we would get all dressed up, and she would walk straight up to the desk where the list is, and she'd literally get up there and she'd be like, Brittany Taylor, +2. And they would look at the list and they'd be like, oh, you're not here. And she's all like, please check again. Oh my god, I would be sitting there like dying, just dying, like, oh my god, we gotta run, we're gonna get like arrested. Not that you could get arrested for this, but that's what's going on in my brain. And so she's like, they're like, no, sorry, you're not here. And she would literally be like, do you really think that I would get dressed up and come to this premiere if I wasn't on the list? I had my assistant call 2 weeks ago, and she was so authoritative and so she intimidated me, and I'm like her friend, that we'd always get in. And they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry, there must be some kind of mix-up, so yeah, just go on in, here's tickets to the after party, and I hope you guys have a good time, we're so sorry. She'd be like, it's okay, I'm just, you know, and I'd be like, oh my god. So we got into a movie premiere by my friend's balls of steel, pretty much, because I was useless in this situation, but that was something I did in my 20s. Funny story though, one time the girls were kind of on to us, the girls at the table, and which was weird because this was the one time we did actually know some of the people in the movie. It was From Dusk Till Dawn, and one of my friends was friends with Tito Lariva, he does a lot of the music for Robert Rodriguez's films. He's in Desperado for a little bit. He actually does that song in From Dusk Till Dawn when Salma Hayek comes out with a snake and does the whole, you know, sexy dance. That's Tito. He's playing in the background. So we actually kind of knew somebody. He was going to be playing at the after party. We knew that. So we thought this one would be a no-brainer. Like, they'll let us in. But they like knew, like you could tell, and it just like the girl was just like, you're not on the list and it's full, so we're sorry, you'll have to leave. My other friend Jen, she just kept on like naming names because, you know, she knew people in the production as well, and she named enough names that you could tell they were a little scared, like maybe we kind of messed up. So they're like, well, you can't get into the screening, but we'll give you tickets to the after party. So we're like, oh, okay, no problem. Okay, well, at least we get to go to the after party. Tito's really good friends with Robert Rodriguez, so sometimes after we'd see him play, we'd go out and eat something, and Robert would come along, and so he kind of knew us. I mean, he really liked Jen and really opened up to her because she was the one who was really close. Again, I was Miss Shy, so I really just sat at the table and said nothing. Like nothing. We get to the party, and you could tell this girl just keeps giving us stink eye. Like, she's just like, I know you scammed your way into this party. You guys don't know anybody. Like, oh, she really had it for us. And we were thinking at any point we were going to be kicked out of this party. And then Robert Rodriguez happened to be having a very good time, which means he was very drunk. And as the girl, like this, he's just like this is a movie itself. As the girl was walking by, Robert saw Jen and he's all like, Jen, oh my God, I'm so glad you guys came. And he like hugged us and he was all like, oh. And that girl's face turned white. She was just like horrified because she thought that we really were invited and that she totally treated us like crap, even though we were totally not invited. She was absolutely right. Her instincts were 100% correct. But now, because Robert, the director of the film, was hugging us and saying, oh, I'm so glad you guys came, she just felt horrified. So she came up to us right afterwards. She's like, anything you guys need, just let me know. I'm so sorry about the mix-up. And I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So anyway, so that was a fun part of my 20s, sneaking into movie premieres. Number 3, I actually used to work at a video store. Some of you might not even know what that is anymore because what are videos? Yes, VHS videos. I worked at a video store. I was a screenwriter. Quentin Tarantino worked at a video store. I thought I would work at a video store. And honestly, it was some of the best times of my life. I'm still friends with everybody that I worked with then. We got so close. We were all kind of wannabe filmmakers, writers, and it was just a really, really positive experience. So 3 years, 2020 video. Number 4, speaking of Quentin Tarantino, I used to only watch movies in my 20s at like the bigger theaters in Los Angeles. So like the Chinese and the Village and the Bruin and the National. And these were like, I had my very specific seats that I like to sit in. They were pretty close, but not too close. And it was like my ideal seats in every single theater. And this happened to me, I'd say about 7 or 8 times, where I would go to my favorite seat and I would see somebody was sitting in it and I'd get really annoyed, and it was Quentin Tarantino. Apparently, he liked the same seat as I did. I would sit like within like a seat next to him, like, and I would be mad too. I would be like, poof, and like sit down and whatever. He had no idea and he didn't see me, and because I would of course wait like 2 seats between us. But it always annoyed me, and like I'd be like so excited to see a movie, and then I'd see I'd come so early and I'd go and see my favorite seat and someone's in it and it's Quentin Tarantino. Like, really? Like, go somewhere else. But obviously he has good taste in seats. Just saying. Number 5. Some of you already know this if you watch my channel, but I love to sew, and I make insane weird bags because I just love creating, especially when I can't get into writing mode. Sewing is a really nice creative outlet for me so that I can just have something by the end of the day, as opposed to writing a book that, you can't write a book in a day. I mean, you might be able to, but I can't write a book in a day. So it's just kind of this tangible, creative thing that I love to do. Number 6, for 7 years on and off, I was actually a digital film restorationist. I got to work on some amazing films. I don't know if you guys remember, but like a decade ago, the Disney films were re-released, pristine, they were cleaned, they were digitally restored. I was a part of that team, so I got to work on Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Pinocchio, like you name it, I got to work on it, and it was insanely cool. I got to work on restoring Star Wars, the originals, and Indiana Jones, and all the James Bond films. Our restoration house, which was called Larry Digital, we were the go-to people to clean up and restore all the big films, and that's when I was working there. So it was pretty amazing, and I'm pretty proud of that fact. Number 7, I actually placed in a screenwriting contest that the Academy Awards puts on every year. It's the Nickel Fellowship, and I got into the top 100. And it was a really big experience for me. It was actually, and you're already gonna see where this is going as I'm telling it to you, because it's just this tragic moment. I actually wrote a romantic comedy about the Red Sox, winning the World Series, because when I wrote the script, they had not won the World Series in 100 years. So I did this elaborate romantic comedy about this girl who's a huge Red Sox fan, and she's vowed when she was a kid that she would never get married until the Red Sox won the World Series. So cut to the future, her boyfriend, who could care less about baseball, wants to marry her, but she won't marry them, so he has to somehow make the Red Sox win the World Series. I took one of the legends, like there's so many going of how to break it. One in particular was insane, literally digging up Babe Ruth's bones and reburying them in Fenway Park, and that would break the curse. So it was like this really dark, funny, romantic comedy. So it made it to the top 100 of the Nickel Fellowship, and then I actually had two really big producers want to make it. I mean, this was like my big break. Like, I was so excited. We were developing it, we were getting it together, we were meeting every week and really getting the script strong. It was gonna do it, and the Red Sox won the World Series. Literally. They literally won the World Series! So that was it. The script was dead. Dead on arrival. They won. There's no more curse to break. That's the way show business goes. So, and you can see where this one's going too. A couple of years ago, I decided, you know what? I like that idea. Why don't I do it with the Cubs? They also haven't won a series in 100 years. So I changed the whole script to be about the Cubs winning the World Series. And they won the World Series. So the lesson learned here is, if you have any sports team that's cursed, just let me know. I'll write a screenplay and it'll break it. I apparently have the power to break 100-year-old curses just by writing a screenplay about it. Yeah. Number 8, I actually worked fast food. Yes, to pay the bills and allow yourself time to be able to write. So I would come home with layers of grease all over my skin, and when I worked milkshakes, I'd have a perfect line of milkshake gunk that went straight across my chest. It was pretty horrible, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Number 9, I actually lived in LA during the Northridge earthquake. Not just lived there, but I was like right near the epicenter. Like, it was in Northridge and I lived in like right next to it. So it was insane. I happened to be in a building that was built in the 70s, and that thing was like up to code, I guess is the key there. The craziest thing about the earthquake was it happened, I think, at like 4 in the morning, and I remember it being so loud. Like, it roared, like the whole earth roared. There is nothing like that sound. It was deafening. Everything in our apartment was destroyed. You know, we had to immediately put on shoes because there was just glass everywhere. We had to evacuate the building because they thought that there was a gas leak. I had this little mini like antenna TV that I brought outside, so the entire apartment building and some of the apartment buildings near us were all hovered around me and my little tiny TV, figuring out what was going on. And because it was all dark, there were no lights, which meant that the entire sky in Los Angeles was full of stars. That never happens. Like, you can maybe see like 2 stars and they're planets. I mean, you know, you can't see anything because there's just too many lights in Los Angeles to see stars. So that's the one and only time the sky was just like the Milky Way. Like, you could see everything. It was stunning. You could literally look at the sidewalk and it was rolling. Like, it looked like waves. It was pretty insane. And lastly, number 10, I think I've mentioned this before on my channel, but I actually used to work on the show Ghost Whisperer with Jennifer Love Hewitt. And it was a really good time. I mean, I've worked in TV before and I've worked on movies, but for some reason that one in particular was close to my heart. I was an assistant to John Gray, who is the head writer and creator of the show, and he was just amazing. He actually was the one who allowed me to write the Ghost Whisperer comics because he knew that I was an aspiring writer. and that helped me get published. That was actually published by IDW, so it was like my first real writing gig, and it was my first real book that I could go to a Barnes & Noble and see. Ghost Whisperer has a huge place in my heart. And again, everybody that I worked with there were all still so close and still such good friends, so it was really like a family there. That's it. Those are 10 things that you may or may have not known about me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to tag 3 people because I'm very curious to know more about them. I am tagging Rowan from Rowan Tree Editing. I am tagging Heather Mattern. Lastly, I am tagging Kayla from the Booktube Turtle. So hopefully I'll see those soon. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!